to start with Man United yesterday. Another poor result, 4 defeats on the bounce, another game with no goals. Obviously, me and Staffy spoke about it last night on the match reaction show. So I want to throw it out to the panel, but I want to frame it a little bit. A lot of people today, there are United fans, the mainstream media are doing it, and a lot of rivals, even in our group chats. Ineos don't have a plan. Amarim's stupid for sticking to his system, and he should change it. This isn't going to work. United are only going to go backwards. The floor is yours.
Ineos clearly have a plan in it, but it's just the timing of how you've done things has been a bit backwards, Terry. That's what it is. Like, if you brought in Amarim in the summer, it would mean that you're not buying more profiles that don't suit what he's trying to do. Like what's happened with Amarim. You know what I'm saying? With Ten Hag. You know, if you brought in Amarim in the summer, I highly doubt you would have signed someone like Xerxes, for example. You know what I'm saying? So even a Delit, I don't think you would have probably signed someone like that, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at it right now. Listen, they're trying to rectify these mistakes, but the biggest mistake they made was by keeping Ten Hag in the summer, because it's led to a domino effect of, you know, poor signings. It's led to, you know, a lack of cohesion in the team, lack of chemistry. You know, a lot of players not wanting to be at the club. Clearly, when they're playing, you can see they don't want to really be at United anymore. It's led to just more nonsense. You know what I'm trying to say? So, for me, I just kind of look at this season and think, you know what? United need to just ride out the storm, stay in the league, because that's the main thing. Get to 40 points, like what we did, like what we did that season when we finished 12th, bro. And then go again, man, and then just demolish the attack and start again. That's the main thing you can do. But Ineos, like I said, the biggest problem was keeping Ten Hag. That's led to so many other things after that, bro. That's the problem.
If you take Man United players and Amarim, take the shirts off, they play at the Emirates today or they play at Anfield, I think they would do better than 14. I think it will be top 6. I insist on this. The problem at Man United is not only the players and the managers done. It's the attitude, it's the mentality of the whole club. Listen, Terry has been doing shows for a while, and every time he speaks the Glazers, I think the damage that has been done at Man United in terms of the mentality and the way people think about the club is far bigger than a manager or a player. De Ligt is not a wash player. Mazraoui is not bad. Listen, Lisandro Martinez, people think he's bad now. He was at Ajax, he was a good player. And when he came to Man United, people were talking about the guy being one of the best defenders in the league in a back 4.
Yeah, but Mo, he ain't been the same though. He ain't been the same since that injury that he got, bro.
Exactly. And I think it's not only about the injury, Don. I think it's about the mentality of the club. Someone has to rip it off, completely tell these players, you play for Manchester United. This is one of the biggest clubs in the world, and you represent Manchester United. I'm telling you, when they lost to Bournemouth at home last season 3-0, and people are saying it's Ten Hag, and the players played the next game and there was no earthquake. I think results like this for any big club should have an earthquake effect on the club. Losing at home to a mid-table team at Old Trafford, one of the biggest stadiums in the world, should have an earthquake. Any of our clubs would think like this. The problem at Man United is that they actually got accustomed to mediocre. They got accustomed. And I'm not talking about the fans, because the fans still have standards. Staffy, Terry, all the others, Saeed, and all the others that we do shows with. The problem is, I think the players get infected when they join the club. They accept mediocrity, bro. And I think it needs a manager. Listen, I thought that Amarim had the person. I spoke about this with Terry yesterday on the show.
Yeah.
The personality of Amarim showed that he's the guy to steer the ship the right way. In that dressing room, tell these players, you play for one of the biggest clubs in the world. Step on that pitch, knowing that you're the better team. And I said that yesterday, bro. Newcastle played like they're the bigger team. Newcastle. Imagine 3 years ago, you're fighting relegation.
Yeah, but Mo, I think you're being a little bit unfair, though, because you have to deep it. When they brought in Amarim, the ship was already sinking, bro.
But that's what I mean. I thought Amarim would fix it.
Do you know what it is? But when you say you thought Amarim would fix it, I agree to you to a certain extent that I thought there'd be some better results than we have seen in this short-term period. However, every Man United fan who's always known what our true root cause problems were, it was never, and I always get shit from people, and I'm at a point where I ignore them now. Yes, Ten Hag had to go, and Ollie had to go, and Jose had to go. Yes, a number of players had to leave the football club, but at no point did anybody with a brain think that those individuals were the root cause problem at the club. And the only thing you said that I disagree with is they need to be told they're at Man United. I think that's part of the problem in the short term. Yes, we're Man United by history. Yes, we're Man United by name. But this idea, if these players don't have even if they were all running through brick walls. They don't have the ability to deliver right now, this group. They don't have the ability to deliver to the Man United name, as it were. Then these, and you always get this from fans. We all do this as fans at some point, sometimes with banter, sometimes in real life. Got to have standards. And I heard CB and Dave go at it last night, 2 Chelsea fans, because CB said, Dave, you don't have high standards because you didn't expect to beat Ipswich. And David said, no, I didn't. I said, I do expect us to win, but I recognize that we're still a work in progress and this could be a slippery fixture if things don't quite go our way. It's not having low standards to understand where you are in the moment. And I think that that's what's got to be balanced, is that it's going to take 2 to 3 years to get Man United anywhere near back to the standards. What we did to Xerxes yesterday, I didn't like it. Now, again, Standard FC will say, that's what you meant to do. You're meant to boo players. You're meant to make them feel like that. For me personally, I don't see how that helps us in the short term. I just don't. I think you can have those standards, but there's a way of going about it. And look, I weren't in the ground. I wasn't experiencing that emotion in that time as an example. Some people have put it down to racism. And look, I would say that there's probably, definitely, because of the percentage chart, there's probably some racists in that stadium, the same as there are in every single one of our stadiums. At the same time, when Manu walked onto the pitch, those same people started cheering. So I don't necessarily think the main motivation is bigotry, but there certainly will be some of that in those circumstances. Xerxes becoming a scapegoat at the football club. I'm not one of them. I'm not going to jump on that. I'm not going to jump on it because there's 2 players missing from yesterday's game that have been the biggest scapegoats in the last few years, and that was no Bruno Fernandes and no Rashford. And we were not a miles better team without them. That doesn't mean, though, again, I don't want to have, this ain't one of those channels for it. I'm not stating we shouldn't look to improve on those players, but the idea that if you just take those 2 out in isolation, the team becomes better. This is the mentality that's got to change at the club. And someone tweeted me, the first thing I'm going to say on this, I'm going to throw it out to the rest of you guys. Someone said to me earlier on today, Terry, every time the Ineos make a mistake, it's the snowball effect is massive. And they things like this, Ineos is worst. First they gave the Glazers a lifeline, then they destroyed United. We use the snowball example. Man United's owners are not trying to stop a very small snowball rolling from the top of a mountain. It's now become an avalanche, and they're at the bottom trying to save everybody. So, of course, their mistakes are going to be magnified. And if you actually look at Arsenal, if you look at Chelsea, there's 2 cases and points. Even look at FSG when they first came in. They came in at a time where things were quite toxic at your clubs. And in the short term, it became more toxic because we as fans want instant gratification. Okay, a new owner or a new board member, new manager, a new project. Fuck me, why aren't we challenging for the title yet? We've all been through it. Everyone's raving about Villa at the moment. The same board that we're going, wow, look what they've done for Unai Emery and look where they're at. These same guys made a mistake by bringing in Gerrard, who nearly had them relegated. The thing I won't do is I'm not going to overjudge Ineos in the short term. I'm going to criticize their mistakes, but I am not going to remove the context for what's happened prior in the last 20 years. And that's probably my biggest bugbear. I'm watching Gary Neville talk about it, or the squad. This squad's worse than the one a few years ago under Ollie. Well, of course it is, because you pricks, sorry to be rude, never address the root cause problem. You just think new manager, spend a little bit of money, everything's going to be okay. It was never going to be. And the one group that are actually going about things differently, bringing in football decision makers. By the way, I had people in my DMs today. Terry, what are your owners going to do about the board making bad decisions? They already did something. They literally sacked the guy that made the decisions that we're criticizing. So I can't sit there and see things being done differently and throw baby out with the bathwater straight away. But what I have learned, and this has nothing to do with me because Man United fans are not a monolith, we're not all one of the same, is I would say 80% of this fan base, because they've never spent the time to look at what the real problems at the club were, they still think it's quite superficial things like sell Rashford, sack this manager. They ain't got the stomach, the guts, or the mental capacity for this rebuild. They are just going to be negative until it turns around. And I will say this, my final little bit on the whole Man United, the rest of it you guys can talk. I ain't going to say shit no more. They will turn this club around, in my opinion. It's going to take time. There's going to be bumps in the road. I'm confident in it. I expected results like yesterday. Maybe I didn't expect to lose 4 on the bounce because I'm not Nostradamus and I can't tell the future exactly. but I expected these types of results while we stripped the club back. And people keep saying we're stupid to bring in Amorim because we don't have a squad that suits his style of play. Do you know what's stupid and so surface level about that comment, in my opinion, is we don't have a squad built for any manager to come in and implement a style of play because we are a cocktail of 5 previous regime failures. Well, in fairness, most of Moyes' players have gone now, but you get my point. We are not built for anybody. What we're built for is the shut up shop, this be compact, this try and transition and counter attack, and we do okay for a year or two until that starts getting pulled apart. This has to happen. We have to strip it back. I'm not happy with the results. I hate where we are. It's painful to watch. But this was always going to happen in one way, shape, or form after 20 years of malpractice and neglect. And for anybody to think this is on Ineos, I still think you can't see the wood for the trees, in my personal opinion. But I'm shutting up now. I'm handing it over to you guys. Sorry.
I mean, to be fair, it is on Ineos in a way. First of all, we addressed so many points, so I don't know what we're supposed to talk about. Is it Ineos? Is it the game? Is it Amorim?
Well, I want to talk about, I mean, if we keep it back on point around, a lot of people are criticizing them, saying they should sell, saying that Amorim shouldn't, that they've made a mistake bringing in Amorim. That's what I want to kind of address.
Okay, so I feel like everything is partially correct. So I do blame Ineos for something. I blame Ineos, as Don said earlier, for not bringing in a manager in the summer.
Agreed.
So that stays valid. I mean, I understand that they got rid of Ashworth because he made a few mistakes, and they tried to rectify it as quick as in 4 months. But it still doesn't erase the fact that you made a mistake.
True.
Amorim himself wanted to come into the summer, but they were so desperate because they know they messed up by keeping Ten Hag, and they rushed to get him in. So Amorim right now came in and took over this job. I wouldn't say against his will, but it wasn't ideally what he wanted to do. If it was up to him, he wanted to come into the summer. But it was more of like, it's now or never because we're really sinking. So, of course, he was always going to take the job because it's a big job for him.
It was up to him. He would have gone to Liverpool. It's fine. All right.
But that was in the summer. But what does that have to do with just happen? You just always have to insert something that is completely meaningless to the argument.
You just said that he would have gone in the summer.
Sounds
If
like
it was up to Amorim,
you just said he would have liked to come in the summer. He wanted to join Liverpool. Liverpool just didn't take him.
Next summer. He didn't get approached by United this summer.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Talking about when they approached him.
Clarified. I just wanted to clarify. It's fine.
I spoke English. I thought it was known. But anyway.
No, because he said he wanted to come in the summer, and I'm just not. He did it.
Anyways.
Okay. Go ahead.
See, you threw me on my train of thought right
Love
there.
you, man. It's fine. It's fine.
What was I going to say? See, well, not rude. Oh, yeah. Back to Amorim. So he took this job in an unideal situation. If it was up to him, he would have came in next summer, but they wanted to bring him in now. So this is on Ineos. Now, when you look at the squad, listen, I addressed this yesterday in the match reaction. I'm going to say it again because there's a bunch of rivals right here. And I know Don is going to sit here and say, well, I told you guys you overrate the squad. Let's be honest. Don, you didn't think the squad was 14th either. Like maybe at worst, I don't know what you said, but I'm assuming at worst you had United in the top 8. And that's a safe guess to say for everyone here on the panel. You probably had United somewhere in the top 8. So for United to be 14th, it means we're all wrong. So let's not do this thing where, oh, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. No one thought this. Now, I'm looking at Emre and I'm listening to what he says after the game yesterday. He said, and I'm not gonna lie, it was very sad when he says that because he just looks at his depth already. He's saying this team is just not improving. And it's only been a month. For a manager not to be able to look at a team and say after a month, he's like, they're not improving. It debunks what you said earlier, Mo. And I just can't believe you said that because you said it yesterday on the match action. You say it again. You said if you take the jerseys off this team and you put them in the Emirates or you put them in Anfield, they'll play better. That is actually crazy to me. That you think the difference between this team being good or bad is representing a different club and a different name. I don't think it's just that clear cut. I don't think it's one fix. Yes, there is pressure. Yes, there's a mentality issue. But as I said yesterday, and I'm going to say it again, if the manager's coming out and saying, oh, they're not improving, he sees the deficiencies that we all see. And you see it too, but I don't know why you're trying to ignore it. There's a clear deficiency in quality compared to the other teams that we play. I go into every game, and probably every match reaction after we lose, I say, hey, what would have happened today if we swapped this player with that player? What would have happened? We swapped Cunha for Bruno in that Wolves team, in that Wolves game. What would have happened if yesterday we swapped a couple players? If we swapped just 2 midfielders that we had with 2 of their midfielders, Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali, or Bruno Guimaraes and Joelinton, do we lose that game? And I say this every game. Bro, forget actually these 2. These are the best players. Lewis Hall yesterday, Chelsea Academy product. He's better than anything we have to have in left wing back. And I'll be honest with you, he's probably one of their lesser players. Like when you look at Newcastle, where does Lewis Hall rank? He's not one of their best players. They have so many
yeah, he is. He has been this season.
But Don, okay, I know he's good. He's technically good, but because of how good their squad is, if you go ask any Liverpool fan right now, name me your top 5 players. They're gonna name 5 players before they name him. He comes in right now.
In Newcastle, bro. I spoke to a Newcastle fan earlier on, Pete, in the season. He said Lewis Hall's been their best player, bro.
Okay, fair enough. If that's what
he improved. He improved massively, Don, in the last 8-9 games.
But that proves my point, anyways. I get what you're saying, but it still proves my point, anyways. He comes in and he's better than anything that we had down the left yesterday. So this is what I'm saying. If I'm going into every game against better opposition, lesser opposition, there's about 2-3 players that I think will come in and start for this team and improve us. I cannot sit here and say what Mo said, which is, oh, it's just a mentality issue. It is an issue, but it's a clear lack of quality. And until we improve, until we give them specialists in these positions, this is why I come here and I always argue with Terry over Bruno and Cam and all these people, because they want to sit here and want to shoehorn most of their favorite players in this team. I'm saying I don't care.
That's not true from my point. I've said I don't care about anyone staying at this football club. So
apologies, maybe not you, but Cam.
Staffy, can you clarify where did you have Man United finish?
I said we should be competing for the top 4.
Okay, so you proved my point that you believe that the quality of this team is to compete for top 4. They're 14th now, so it's definitely not a quality issue.
Because okay, Mo. So first of all,
it's literally my point, Staffy. The quality of this team is to be.